So once we've identified, okay, we've worked out how we're going to get the finance, we've worked out how we're going to structure the deals and how we're going to structure our portfolio. We've worked out which areas we want to invest in. We've narrowed it down from state to an area, and we thought, okay, now we're going to get going. How do we build a portfolio, and how does it work for the individual that wants to make this happen, and what's the long-term plan behind it? And the best way I can relate this to is a game of Monopoly, because we were all taught how to play Monopoly at a young age, and my belief is that if you make something simple, it's easy to accept. So what I've done here is we're going to play a game of Monopoly, and it's a 10-year timeline where we're just going to build a small portfolio that's going to give us a little passive income down the track. Now, there's two assumptions that I've taken into this example. The first assumption is that the property is going to double over a 10-year period, and the second assumption is that we can expect a 5% return on our investment, which is a 5% yield, basically. So we've started out with property number one, and we've purchased this property at $300,000. And in 10 years' time, we're expecting this property to be worth $600,000. We've purchased property number two at $400,000, and in 10 years' time, we're expecting it to be worth $800,000. Property number three, we picked up for $500,000, and in 10 years' time, it's worth $1 million. And property number four, we've picked up at $600,000, and 10 years' time, it's worth $1.2 million. Now, assuming that we've borrowed 100% of the money in all these deals, which means we haven't actually injected cash deposits into these, we've just secured them against something else, that gives us a total debt position of about $1.8 million. And assuming that all of these properties have doubled in a 10-year period, it's going to give us a valuation of $3.6 million. So that net position is going to give us a $1.8 million net position. Now, if you work that out at 5%, that gives you a $90,000 per year passive income. That's just basically basic maths. So if you think about what you need to do to build up a $1.8 million net position, there's a few ways you can do it. You can try and save it over the years that you're working, and I don't know about you guys, but the cost of living these days is so high that it's actually hard to save that kind of money these days. The other way is you can go out and invest in different vehicles. Now, property isn't the only investment vehicle. There's obviously shares, there's funds, there's cash, there's different types of investments. But for us, basing it on a timeline, on a Monopoly game over a 10-year timeline, this is what we're expecting to make out of it. So when you think about what $90,000 per year is going to mean for us when it comes to retirement, what difference will that make in our lives if we've got that kind of income coming through? I mean, I've read some figures, some articles on what's happening with our superannuation and what's happening with the pension. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not relying on the pension. When it was introduced, we had 19 taxpayers supporting one pensioner. These days, so in 2016, we've got 3.5 taxpayers supporting one pensioner. But by the time all the baby boomers move into retirement, we'll be lucky to have 2 taxpayers supporting one pensioner. So guess what that means? There's going to be less money to go around for, particularly the younger generation, when they come into retirement. And that's why the government's come out and said, okay, now the retirement age has been extended from 65 to 70. Before we know it, they're going to push it out to 75, and before we know it, to 80. So, and our life expectancy is increasing, the value of the dollar is decreasing, and we need more money to be able to fund, that 20, 30 years that we're going to live after we retire. So, where's that going to come from? I don't know about you guys, but I like this system. So this is how this is the Silver Tower roadmap essentially. And there's one thing I want to make very clear is that there is no one size fits all. So this isn't going to be suitable for every single person that we work with. This might be suitable for certain individuals that have got this kind of goal. Some people have bigger goals, some people have smaller goals. There is no one size fits all. So for us, it's really important that we work with the end goal in mind. And that's what we do at our exploration sessions as well.